Yesterday's episode, everyone commenting on all the issues with the transfer portal and NIL. Today, we offer potential solutions. It's a Lockdown Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. I said we offer solution. I guess that means me, myself, and I. And you're certainly welcome to join in on the conversation. Tons of comments. Yesterday's episode, I really appreciate it as it did grow once it got into all the Facebook groups. Really do appreciate it. We'll get to the basketball. South Alabama could be a little bit of an issue. I know it was Mobile, but Southern Miss struggled against William Carey last night. We will get to those two ball games. All right, so none of these are going to be original ideas. All right, I think I'm smarter than the average bear, but I'm really not. So these are all old ideas, and let's be honest, they all have to be negotiated, collectively bargained. I guess they're going to have to be employees. We're going to have to get around to that. I know people probably like myself and the previous generation aren't going to like that, but we're not going to really care when we're rooting for our teams because we just want to see them win. It's the way of the world, okay? Plus, I don't trust the NCAA to win any kind of court case at all. They just lost junior college eligibility. All right. They couldn't get you out of a speeding ticket. Meanwhile, junior college is eligibility. These guys have the worst lawyers in the history of lawyers. So we're moving on. Okay. So I had to write these down just to make sure I didn't forget anything. All right. So the first thing is you get one free transfer. All right. That's it. One free transfer. Didn't work out. You're behind the quarterback or you lost the quarterbacking job or the system didn't fit you. Whatever the case is, you get one free transfer. All right. That's easy. All right. Second thing is if you do transfer again, you got to sit out. But in previous times, you lost a year of eligibility. You don't lose the year of eligibility. You can transfer again, but you got to sit out a year. Some people aren't going to want to do that. Some people will, but you don't lose a year of eligibility. And none of this, if you transfer within the conference, you used to be able to have to sit out 2 years. None of that. All right. So if you sit out, if you do transfer a second time, you have to sit out a year, but you don't lose a year of eligibility. All right. Also, if your coach leaves or gets fired, you can transfer. All right. And you can transfer with them, a la Marshall packing up and going to Hattiesburg with Charles Huff. All right. So we have one free transfer, right? Second, or the other transfers, you have to sit out a year and you don't lose eligibility, and you can transfer if your coach gets fired or leaves. All right. So here are the issues that players are going to say. Well, coaches can leave what they want to, but here is the issues, and I'll give Scott Van Pelt, he pointed this out. The coaches have to pay the money back. So when coaches get fired, the NC State offensive coordinator just got fired. Bob Marlin just got fired. They got their contracts. They get paid. Bob Marlin, somewhere between $400,000 and $600,000 not to coach. The NC State offensive coordinator just got fired. He's walking away with $900,000. So the same thing goes the other way. If you take another job, I'm pretty sure Brian Kelly had to pay whatever Notre Dame was asking him to pay. Either LSU paid it or Brian Kelly paid it to go coach LSU. And that was the holdup with Marshall and Charles Huff. When they got around to it, Marshall was like, and Charles Huff had interviewed with a couple other places during his first contract, and all G5 teams realized that if our coach is doing well, some other schools are going to come calling. And that's what happened. And Marshall wanted to protect themselves by saying, all right, we'll give you an extended contract. We'll give you more money. But if you are going to leave, you're going to pay us money. And Charles Huff said no. And so that's why they didn't come to an agreement. So somewhere along the way, that's going to have to, where is that going to have with the players? The players aren't going to give their scholarship money back because they got the year of schooling, right? They're not going to give their NIL money back because they got that year of money for playing that year, right? So there's not that money, but that's why the coaches can do it because they're giving money back. Maybe they got the signing bonus, whatever the case is. They're buying out of the contract they agreed to, all right? Maybe if the players in the NIL, they do get upfront money, maybe they have to buy their way out of the contract, all right? The other thing that the NCAA has to do when it comes to the NIL, they have to protect the players. No more of this 20 or 25 or 30 or even more percentage for these NIL agents. That's outrageous, right? 5% would be high, right? What I'm hearing that the NFL agents get 3%. Now, obviously, it's a lot more money than what these kids are getting. Although, did I hear that the Tulane quarterback got $4 million to go to Duke? Wow. Nonetheless, also, I hope he got something written down because we're getting a lot of promises out there from UNLV to Tulsa and now to Florida State. And Leonard Hamilton may be writing checks coming out of his own pocket. He's got the money, but he may be writing checks out of his own pocket. Nonetheless, the NCAA or whomever is going to have to get whatever governing body is going to have to certify these agents and protect the kids to where they are not giving up a huge chunk of their transfer dollars or their NIL money. And here's the other part, two other things that I'm going to suggest. If we're going to get these kids to play in the bowl games, two things are going to happen. You're going to get a lump sum of your NIL money to play in the bowl game. Now, if you're Cam Ward, that lump sum money is never going to match what you're going to get. Right? We're never going to I'm going to 35 to 40 million. You're never going to match that. I want the record. I'm never going to play the extra time for an extra $100,000 or $200,000. You're never going to match what I'm going to get. But if I'm getting 100 or 200,000 or whatever it may be, 50 may be coming my way to play in that bowl game. That may be worth it to a sophomore or junior, whatever the case may be. And the other thing is, and here's where we're going to negotiate. If you're going to transfer, you can't transfer into the next school until the fall semester. All these kids are doing and transferring now to get into the spring semester to go play spring ball. So they get a head start on a following year. That would probably be the one sticking point that I would try to get if I am the schools. I want the players to stick around for now. I guess technically they could still enroll. I don't think there's a law that you can be enrolled into two schools, but that you can't be enrolled into two schools. It's not like you can't have two political positions at the same time. That's something different. But, if I'm finishing up in one school, I can apply and enroll in another school while I'm finishing up at one school. That may be a pain in my backside, but while I'm finishing up at one school, but I would make it to where I couldn't play for the next school until the fall. That's what I would say. So that would hold up the transfer portal immensely. So and having said that, I would make the transfer portal one time after spring practice. I would have no December opening for the portal. Coaches can go, players have to wait until after spring ball. That would be it. You'd get the one option after spring. Now they get at least two. And I'm going to hold that to one. There may be more, but I'm going to do that. So let's recap. We're going to give you one free one with no strings attached. Second one is string attached where you have to sit out a year, but you keep your eligibility. The other opportunity to transfer is if your coach gets fired or leaves, takes another job. NIL, you get a lump sum payment to play in a bowl game. And if you do transfer, you have to wait until the next academic year to transfer. Those are my 5 potential solutions. What do you guys think? And again, that all has to be negotiated, and I do not trust the NCAA. Again, they couldn't get you out of a jaywalking ticket with their attorneys. And I don't know who the NCAA attorneys are, and I'd say with all due respect, but how can you respect them? Because they can't win any case whatsoever. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back. And I know it was against Mobile, and I know what level of basketball it was, and they lost to Mobile last year. They're really impressive. South Alabama off to a good start. Last non-conference ball game of the season. We talk about the Jaguars next on Locked On Sunbelt right after I tell you about Rocket Money. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? That definitely happened to me. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was paying for, and Rocket Money has made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal financing app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. For me, it's one of the best features in the subscriptions tracker. I've used it to cancel services I wasn't using anymore, and I've already saved a ton. Plus, with their goals feature, I've been able to automatically set aside money for my future. No more stressing about budgeting every month. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach for your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. If you're watching on YouTube, could be. It's not, but it could be. All right. Again, a little pre-New Year basketball last night, only 2 ball games. The South Alabama basketball team, it's very unlike Richie Riley to get off to this good start. It has been a minute since this team has been this good. They had those LSU guys. They did get hurt that one year. It wasn't right. It was a COVID year when they were really good, right? They got they went in the end of the season. They had won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row. They were really good that year. And Chad Lott was their leading scorer. That's when I first got to Mobile. I think they were the number 2 seed. And they only had to win 2 ball games. They that was when still we got this crazy Sun Belt tournament this year, but they were a top 2 seed and they went straight to the semifinals. They were going to New Orleans, only had to win 2 games to get the NCAA tournament. And I think they were as far as I was concerned, they were the favorite. And everything got canceled. Okay. A couple years later, they had those LSU transfers. Let me see when that was. Yeah, that was 21-22. They had, let's see here, Charles Manning Jr. I think he was from LSU, and they had J.J. Chandler was from A&M. And right off the bat, you could see they were good. And then I think J.J. got hurt at the end of the year, so they fell short a little bit. But they were really good right away. And they were going to score a lot of points. You could see that. But the last couple of years, it's taken a little bit for them to get going. And let's be honest, they were the surprise of the year in 22 and 23. Isaiah Moore, Division II, leads them to the Sun Belt Championship game, right? And the Cajuns had all kinds of issues. I'm still wondering why nobody double teamed him. He's posting guys up, floaters. JMU had all kinds of issues covering him. Themis Folks hitting threes, and that ball game was really the difference in the game. Isaiah Moore actually hit a couple of threes. It was amazing. 2 point guards that don't shoot threes was the difference in that game. Cajuns won that ball game, but Isaiah Moore absolutely carried the Cajuns or carried the Jaguars to the championship. This is different. Usually it takes at least 2.5 months to figure out. It takes until February, maybe 3 months to figure out what Richie Riley has. Not this year. Now, last year they lost to Mobile, embarrassingly. The only time they've lost to Mobile, it's not even a crosstown rival, right? Mobile is a different level of basketball. It's a nice, friendly rivalry that Richie Riley plays. It's a chance to play a home game and give Mobile a game in town where they're not spending any money except a bus ride, maybe just even a van ride, across town. And South Alabama blows them out, as they should. But here's the thing about South Alabama. They played really good defense, and they don't turn the ball over. The 106 points is impressive. They scored more in each of the halves. They beat Mobile 106-41. So they scored 51 in the first half. They scored 55 in the second half. They scored more in each half than Mobile scored in the ball game. But I'm more impressed. They shot 56 in the first half, 56%. They shot 43 from three, so that's cool. Free throws is an issue. I look at that. 10 out of 20 isn't great. Myles Corey 0 for 3. He's the conference's leading scorer. Didn't shoot it too poorly from the field. 4 from 9, and I'm not worried about the 9 points. That's not a big deal. Judah Brown shot the lights out, 7 of 9 from 3. He led all scorers with 24 points. I'm looking at those 3 turnovers. That's it. Anything less than 10 turnovers a game, because you're going to have some unforced turnovers, and you're going to have the other team is forcing the turnovers. And so anything less than, to me, 10 turnovers a game is really impressive. And when they have that, that's pretty good. Like against JMU, they only had 9 turnovers. They're going to win a lot of ball games. If you don't have a lot of turnovers, you're going to be in some ball games. I mean, let's see what they had against they did lose. Well, let's see what they had against even against TCU, they only had 12. They lost that ball game 58-49. TCU had 12, but they still only had 12 turnovers in that ball game. And so, when you're not turning the ball over, I'm trying to find a better team here. Let's see what they did. Ole Miss is really good. Ole Miss is a top 25 basketball team. They played them very early in the year. They lost by 10, 64-54. Let's see what the team stats are here. Turnovers. They did turn the ball over a little bit, 14-9. All right. That's a little bit high. All right. That's a lot of turnovers in a game. And so you cut those down, you're going to be in a ball game. All right. And that's where we see the statistics, what they are per ball game. Let's see here. They're averaging less than 9 a game. They average 8.8 a game. And that's where South Alabama is going to be tough. If they average less than 10 turnovers a game, they're going to be incredibly tough. Let's just, for checking it out, see if we can find Arkansas State and what they're doing. They're the top team in the conference. They have the best record, 10-3. They are, opening up conference play on a 4-game road trip. Not easy. Old Dominion, James Madison. Then they're going to Alabama, going to play South and Troy. Let's see what they're averaging, turnovers-wise, just to check it out. They're averaging 12. They're averaging 12.2. Jaguars are averaging 8.8. So was that 3.5? About 3.5 more per ball game. That's a lot. That's the difference between a win and a loss, in most cases. That's between 9 and 12. That's the difference between winning and losing. And so we'll keep an eye on that moving forward. The score is impressive, right? Now, blowout is a blowout. Anything over 20 to me is impressive these days. And we're just going to keep an eye on it. The other one I want to check out is Barry Dunning, I think, is getting better at the three-point shot, although he's not shooting it. He went 0 for 1. He struggled a little bit. Barry has just been – he's just a tweener, right? He's 6'6". He was a post player in high school. He's going to dominate down there because there's not a lot of guys that are that size. And at 6'6" in college, you're going to be a swing man, and you got to be able to shoot. And he struggles from the outside. He's just shooting 15% from the outside. Let's see if we can see if those shots are starting to fall. Again, not taking a lot. Did go 3 for 6 against TCU. He hasn't hit one in a minute. But he only took one against Mobile. But he still went 9 for 15 from the floor. So life's about making the adjustments, and he's adjusting. So we'll keep our eye out on South Alabama. They're heading to Georgia. I think they get Georgia Southern and Georgia State. Let me go backwards here a second. Let's see here. They are getting Georgia State and Georgia Southern. So they get Georgia State on Thursday, Georgia Southern on Saturday. They do have a good shot. It's road games, but they have a good shot at going 2-0 to begin Sun Belt play. And then they get Arkansas State and Old Dominion before hosting Southern Miss and Troy. So we'll see. Schedule lines up for them to get off to a good start. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. All right. On the other hand, Southern Miss is struggling flat out. It took all of their efforts to get a win, same thing, over crosstown foe William Carey. We'll talk about that when we come back right after this. All right. Again, over 1,840 subscribers we finish the year with. That's basically 1,000 more subscribers than we had last year. What a year for Locked On Sunbelt. Really appreciate it. We've been growing by leaps and bounds, and you guys are great going back and forth. Yesterday, I think we had the most comments, at least on the Facebook page. And I don't mind saying a little clickbaity, right, with the embarrassing question mark. Some people said yes. It was not a good showing by the Cajuns, but there were reasons for it. Mike Desimo didn't make excuses. I gave you reasons. And most of the comments were, yeah, there were a bunch of reasons, missing a bunch of players. And I appreciate the feedback. And I made some mistakes. I think I said Hunter Walker when it's Walker Howard. So that's what happens when you have a last name for a first name, and it's very confusing, right? So my fault. I think I said some SEC West, and I got corrected. I make plenty of mistakes, and when I make a mistake, you call me out, and I will absolutely say so. So appreciate all the feedback. We will continue in the new year. We still got one more football game. Texas State looking for their 9th win. G.J. Kinney, I think, signed all those transfers yesterday, as it turns out. So we're still trying to get all those coaches. We're still going to see if we can get some more coaches on following the new year. So stay tuned. We'll probably get rejected, but it doesn't mean we're still not going to try. So appreciate all the support. Thanks for being with us. Basketball is going to be in full swing, and we're only about 6 weeks away, maybe 7 weeks away from baseball. My goodness. All right. Back after this. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. First, most importantly, good to see Jay Ladner back on the sidelines. Had that health scare last year. And so priorities, it's good to see him back on the sidelines. Having said that, it could be one of those years for Southern Miss. They are not very good. They have struggled on the road. Now, that could be, as it turns out, having to do with the schedule. All right. They lost to UAB. They played always a tough South Dakota State on the road. They played at Montana State. They played at Tulane. They hosted Ole Miss, which is nice. So that may have been a tournament. They're going to James Madison, and they're going to Old Dominion. Last night, they hosted William Carey, and I actually watched some of this. Yes, they hosted William Carey, only led William Carey by 4 at halftime, 35-31. And William Carey did take a, let me see here. I was going to say 5-point lead, but I'm not sure it got to 5 in the second half. Before Southern Miss went on a run. Let's see here. William Carey did lead 54-51. I probably saw it at 52-49. William Carey. And it did get to 54-51, but then it was 60-54 Southern Miss, and then it got to 64-58, 66-56, and then really, William Carey kind of ran out of gas. There is hashtag always a bright side. Southern Miss was led by, potential Sunbelt Player of the Year, without a doubt, Denijay Harris. 32. I mean, what a ball game! 32 points, 23 rebounds, and 2 blocks. That's an all-time ball game. 6'7", 200 pounds. All right, I understand. William Carey may not have that size, and they don't make any mistake about it. They needed all of that. Played 37 minutes in a ball game against NAIA William Carey. 13 of 18 from the floor. Actually made a 3. Good from the free throw line. 5 of 6. 18 defensive rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds. Had an assist and 2 steals. That's an amazing ball game. 32 points, 23 rebounds. William Carey as a team had 33. So Denijay Harris with a huge ball game. The thing is, Southern Miss improves to 6-7. They're 6-1 at home. So they struggle on the road. And again, we went over those teams that they've played on the road, pretty tough teams on the road. The thing is, usually it goes to the best player on the best team. And right now that may be Kobe Julian. The only thing on that one is he's got Terran Todd, and that may split the vote. We'll see. You do have Myles Corey on South Alabama. We'll see if Barry Dunning splits that vote. So we'll see how much Harris sticks out and how much Southern Miss struggles this year. So there are some players sticking out. Let's see while we're sitting here. The Sunbelt stats heading in to a Sunbelt play. I think Myles Corey, I would venture a guess he doesn't care that much. And when you're going 4 for 9 and you win by 60, I can't imagine you care that much. I would be worried about the 0 for 3 from the free throw line more than anything else. Still leads the conference in scoring, 17.7 points a ball game. There's Harris at second, right behind him by half a point, 17.2. Terran Todd actually leads Arkansas State, 15.5 points a ball game. Kobe Julian is down there at he's 12th, 13.5 points a game. 13.5 points a ball game. So maybe Terran Todd is your guy. So we'll see. Obviously, a long way to go for that. Let's see the standings overall, just to give me a good starting point where we are. Arkansas State 10-3, South Alabama 9-4, Troy 8-4. Always loved Scott Cross, whether it be at UT Arlington or now Troy. Texas State 8-5, a little bit of a disappointing loss to UT Arlington, admittedly. Southern, and then. So these are listed by 1-0 in the conference. So those teams are 1-0. Southern Miss is 1-0, but they're 6-7. Old Dominion is 1-0, but they're 5-8, maybe getting better. All right. The Cajuns 1-0 because they won at App State, but they're 3-10 and are now playing under an interim coach with Bob Marlin gone. Coastal Carolina is 0-1. They're 7-6 overall. Charlie Henry's Georgia Southern team 0-1. They're 7-6. James Madison 0-1. They're 7-6. Marshall 0-1. 7-7. App State 0-1, losing to the Cajuns. They're 6-6. Georgia State 4-9. They're 0-1. And ULM 0-1. They are 7-10. So again, I think the top teams right now are clear. We'll see if there are any surprises. I would put, I think Texas State may be a little bit of a surprise, but I think Arkansas State, South Alabama, and Troy are clearly your top teams. We'll see if anybody else gets in there. We'll see if anybody else separates themselves. South Alabama and Arkansas State are playing in Mobile, not this weekend, but next. Or it'll be next Thursday. It'll be a week from Thursday. They're playing each other. I believe that's correct. So we will get an early matchup to see where we are in Sunbelt play. So looking forward to that one already. All right. Everybody, please have a safe and healthy New Year. All right. New Year's Eve, a little bit for amateurs. Please be safe. You don't have to drive. Do not. Stay at home. Plenty of beverages to have at home. You know, it could be, but it's not. Again, appreciate all the support. And we're looking forward to a bigger and better 2025, but we certainly have our work cut out for us. Again, me, myself, and I. But it really is, it is all about you guys for helping me out to get to where this channel is. So looking forward to continuing doing this and growing even more than we already are. So again, thank you so much and Happy New Year, everyone. You've been watching and listening to Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day.